So, a lot of times my buyers out there, they're looking for a home. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. Sometimes it could be a fixer upper, who knows? And, in order to get that information, we usually go to a home inspector. So today I have Raz. He is with Opus Home Inspections, and he's going to give us a little rundown on exactly how this works. Hey, Raz.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. Hey, so can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your company?
Sure. So my company is Magnum Opus Inspections, and we've been around for I say about nearly 2 to 3 years as a company. But I've been doing inspections myself for almost 6 years. I'm originally from the United States Navy. I'm a United States Navy veteran, and the inspections that we had to go through on a ship was grueling to say the least. Been on two deployments for counter illicit drug operations. Very detail oriented, very OCD as a perfectionist. That's essentially what military discipline teaches you. So I kind of incorporated that with home inspections. And the reason why I even got into the industry itself was because of the fact 5 years ago, I got screwed by a home inspector when I was buying my first property. And he claimed he'd go up on the roof, but he never did. And a leak happened after like about 6, 7 months later with the winter, cold times. And there was a leakage into my attic space, my studs, my beams, my posts, my attic insulation, everything got just soaked. And for some reason, homeowners insurance didn't cover for some stipulation they had, some loophole. And so I had to shell about nearly $32,000 for the remodeling costs.
Whoa.
So I got into this job because of that, big after that story. And then after other agents, I've worked with like a plethora of different agents. They've all had the same horror stories. Either they're inspectors that didn't check everything thoroughly, they claim that they did, and they just took their money and ran. And if you try to sue them later, good luck. These are all the stories I see over and over again. I'm like, you know what? Everybody's built in a certain way to make a difference in the world. My way, I guess, is inspections. Something very small, but at the same time, very important for the long run for the client.
Yeah, that's absolutely important. And wow, that's a great backstory. Yeah.
Yeah, of
And thank you for your service.
course.
Yeah. So why should all home buyers, including people that are just buying a brand new spanking home, get a home inspection?
Well, the reason why it's good you asked that question because for one, the home is for ones that are always older homes, they're
Mm.
constantly changing. It's constantly moving. You're on the earth. The earth doesn't just sit in one place like stalemate. It is always moving, even if you don't realize it. But the house feels it, whether it's moisture driven or it's soil grade or whatnot. So, as an inspector, it's good to check the house out to see if there's any plumbing issues or electrical issues, or structural issues, even mechanical issues for that matter. Because at the end of the day, why should the client hemorrhage out cash to pay for a property that's not even theirs yet? That should be forced upon the seller to have them fix it before they sell it, or they can negotiate the price to go down when they're in the process of that transaction. Because at the end of the day, it's my money. Why should I pay money for something that's broken? Doesn't make sense. Um, and for a newer home, a lot of people have that misconception that, oh, it's a brand new home, Raz. I've had clients come up to me and say that, like, Raz, I love you. I always use you for all my inspections. But why should I get a brand new, why should I get an inspection on a brand new home? It just got built like not even a year ago.
Yeah.
Well, the reason is because there could be still a plethora of issues that people don't realize. Just because it's brand new doesn't mean it's done right. A lot of times I used to be in the construction industry. I used to work and I've seen how these builders work. They're on a time schedule and they're on a budget too. So they try to build it at the most minimum amount that they can do price wise and the quickest way possible because they have other projects to get to. They're not just dealing with one project. They have 4, 5, 6 different projects.
Yeah.
So they do the bare minimum. And just because they do it, sometimes a lot of things get slipped. For example, as a perfect example, brand new, a brand new house that I inspected. I found out that when I inspected the ventilation in the bathroom,
Mm.
it was sucking in moisture. Like I turned the shower on and then I put on the vent, and it was sucking in the moisture and moving it into the attic. It was not expelling it properly.
Oh,
And
wow.
this is a brand new home. It was built in 2019. This was what I did as 2020. And what happened was I put in the report that this is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen probably soon. And sure enough, 8 months later, they had a huge mold infestation in the attic because
Gee.
the moisture from the bathroom was getting sucked out into the attic. So it was causing more moisture issues and mold to be forming inside the attic enclosure. And from there on, it became a mold infestation, and they had to take out the drywall. They had to put it back in. It was a huge headache. And this is a brand new home.
Yeah.
It's uh, it's highly unfortunate, but just because it's brand new doesn't mean it is brand new. So
Yeah.
with an inspection, I think of it this way: you can either hemorrhage out a few $100s, depending on the square footage of the property, of course, and give yourself that peace of mind, or you can save that few $100s in your pocket. But when something goes wrong 6, 7 months down the line, you know, I always tell my clients, I'm like, come crying to me later,
Yeah.
because that few $100 is giving you that peace of mind. It's, you may think of it as like, oh my God, it's costly, but I rather pay a few $100s to save me tens of thousands later. That's just how I think of it.
Yeah, no, and as a realtor, I find my clients, I always recommend them to get a home inspection and someone that they trust, because at the end of the day, this is going to be a property you're going to be living in, your family's there, your health is in, you just want to make sure that what you're buying is what you expect you're buying.
Exactly.
Yeah,
What you see is what you get, but at the same
correct,
time, I'm looking at the structural side, the part of
correct.
the like behind the curtain.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the cosmetic flaws, but that's not what's important to me. What's important is the real, the guts of the house.
yeah, absolutely. Um, so with that, should a someone that's buying the home, should they be there with you during the home inspection?
Most of my clients are, depending on the square footage again. What I say, because I've personally, I mean, I have my own guys that they work for me and I send them out to a lot of inspections. But when I do it myself, if it's like a 2,000 square foot house or 1,500 square foot house, usually the clients are there for the entirety of the inspection. They like to look at the house. They like to look over and see like what I'm looking at. They always ask me questions. What is this for? What's going to happen for this? How should I check this? That kind of stuff. But for other properties that I've done, like in the 5,000, 7,000, I've even done properties in the 15,000 square foot range. And these are lavish mansions, but the clients are not normally there. They're usually there like maybe the last 30 minutes of the inspection where I'm going to be finishing up. And that's when they come out for payment and I review and whatnot. I've done a lot of celebrities' houses, and it's not necessarily. It's only been once or twice where I've actually met this actual celebrities.
Okay.
Majority of the time, I'm talking to their management team, but that's
Yeah.
about it. But if you choose to have the client there during the inspection, that's fine and dandy, because you got to ask me questions while I'm conducting the inspection.
Yeah.
If not, I'm still going to review it over with you, but you're not going to be able to, at that moment in time, get the answers that you want.
Yeah. So yeah, and then so after the inspection is done, what should the home buyer expect in the report?
Well, the report that we use for Magnum Opus, we provide an abundance of pictures. I mean, it is whatever we check, whether it's pass or fail, we put in a picture. So that way you get an idea of what the inspector's eyes are looking at during that entire course of that examination. So any cosmetic issues, any cosmetic discrepancies really is all provided in the body of the report with a plethora of pictures. But the last page of our report is the summary, which is in my opinion, is the important page for you
Mhm.
and the client. And it is a page noting all of the major and minor safety hazards that me or the inspector came across during the course of the examination. And those issues could be anything related to structural components, electrical, mechanical, or plumbing.
Okay.
So the way we work is, at least compared to our competitors, because there's a lot of home inspectors out there, but there's a difference between the home inspectors that actually inspect properties versus the home inspectors that just check boxes.
Mm.
We're not the checking boxes type. We spend, for a 2,000 square foot house, without any issues, we're there for an easy 3 to 3.5 hours.
Right.
And our reports are lengthy. Maybe, assuming there's no issues, maybe about 50 to 60 pages.
Wow.
It's I personally, the way I train my guys and myself, every home that we inspect as a company, It's almost as if we're the ones that are buying the property.
Yeah.
That's how thorough that we want to be.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why our clients actually come to us.
Yeah.
It's I've never really sold myself or sold my company to have somebody utilize us. I really just give them a sample inspection report, and usually they're already astonished. Aside from it, so they say, "Wow, oh my God, you really are thorough." I said, "Well, you thank the military for that one."
That's cool, man. That's awesome. So, what is the best ways for anybody to get a hold of you and your company?
Personally, I would highly recommend them to either shoot me an email,
Mhm.
which is raz@magnumopusinspections.com, or they can shoot me a text, which is 626 346 8877. The reason why I say don't call me is because of the fact that if I'm in the middle of an inspection, and I train my guys to do this as well, I pretty much tell them do not pick up any phone calls. I don't care if it's your mother calling for an inspection, do not pick it up because it's rude to the inspection that you're currently at. It's not right for the guy that's hiring you to pay you to do an inspection. And here's this guy on his phone talking and trying to set up another inspection. That's just rude. So I don't do that to any of my clients. So if anything, I never pick up the phone. I just shoot them a text like, hey, you know what? I'm in the middle of an inspection right now. I'll give you a call back later. So if anything, the best way is to shoot me a text or shoot an email. And what we do is once we set up an appointment, the process is I send the client and you and your agent, I CC you guys both on the email correspondence. I send out a pre-inspection agreement. That's a 2-page document. Not every inspector uses, but I do because it's a professional way to show what's really going to be part of the inspection. Because a lot of clients, they just think, oh, we're just going to give you this and walking into the house within 30 minutes and take my money and run. That's not it. So my agreement, it lists on there all of the components that are covered in the inspection.
Okay.
And there are some components that are not covered in the inspection because it's not my specialty to get into those kind of, I guess, cosmetic items. Ones would be like, well, for the East Coast, would be like thermal panes, or even for here, would be solar panels. I don't check the solar panels. I check the roll solar panels to see if they're dirty, but I don't check to see how it works. Is it working right? Because that's not my way outside my scope. I don't check sprinkler systems. Again, way outside my scope.
Yeah.
There is there's so many other ones I can't really think of off the top of my head, but
Yeah, but
these are just extra stuff that it's just, or pretty much like swimming pools. I check swimming pools. I just don't do any kind of water tests. Like I don't take it and give it to a lab and have them test out the water or whatnot. If I see there are in a swimming pool, for example, if I see there are rust spots in the pool underwater, that gives me one of two, or possibly both indications. One, you have rebar exposed, which is that's very like dangerous, or you have metal ions in the water because of that rust exposure. So the remedy to that would be to drain out all the water from the pool and patch up everything, make sure everything's okay with the contractor, and then put the pool and then put water back in, because that's very, very dangerous for health wise for kids. Swimming pool, it's not good for your skin. It's just why, what I'm saying, just
yeah.
save money, take care of it right away, nip it in the bud. There are 3 things that personally I, as a man, I don't really mess around with, no matter how much it costs: family, health, and my home. Those 3 things.
Yeah.
The home is very important because if your home is messed up and you got to hemorrhage out money, that's going to be extra stress and more crap that you got to deal with, you and your wife or your husband or whatnot. And it's just, you don't need that. There's enough, stress related issues going on in the world right now that you don't need anything else.
Yeah. Well, with that, yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad it looks like you're healthy. So you've been taking
I
care
try
of
to be, but my wife is the one that keeps telling me to eat salad. So I can't.
Cool.
It's just really difficult, especially when you have a client that actually gives you alcohol at the end of the inspection. I actually, I did, I did one of celebrities' homes. I can't really mention the name because
Sure.
I signed an NDA, but at the end of the inspection, he gave me a really beautiful bottle of champagne. And I'm supposed to give this to you. You're the one who's buying the property. And he just started laughing. He's like, no, man, it's all right, man. It's good. Don't worry about it. Here you go. Thank you very much, Raz. I'm like, sure, man, not a problem. So I took it home. My wife's like, what is this? You're getting gifts? I'm like, well, I mean, when you're dealing with celebrities, they usually get gifts. So
Yeah. So if you want to work with celebrities, contact Roz. He'll hook you up with that. And no, thank you for that. And yeah, is there anything else you want to tell people out there about your company or about what to look for once their home inspection is done? Because I mean, you already told
sure.
us a plethora of information. And
Yeah,
that's
what we do is at the end, well, in the thank you, in the body of the report,
Mhm.
anytime we like, if there's a major or minor safety discrepancy, we usually recommend a specialist to be contacted with and be consulted with to remedy that situation. For example, if there was a issue with the roofing shingles and it's loose, it's not adequately installed, there's rust exposure on the nails already, I would deem that as a minor safety hazard. And not only that, but I would recommend a consultation with a licensed roofing contractor. So not only am I stating that what the problem is, I would suggest a consultation with a specialist in that area to be consulted with to find out a quote, how much it would cost to fix it, and how long it would take,
Yeah.
and is it a big issue or not. Anything that's related to handyman work, I have one of our inspectors, he's a handyman by trade. So he does inspections as well. And if he has the time, he can do it. If not, I usually have another handyman that I work with. And recommend all the business to him because he's the greatest guy there is. This guy is like, I mean, super thorough, very friendly. You ask him any question, he'll know right off he's like photographic memory. It's just amazing.
Oh,
So I work with a lot of different specialists out there. And the reason why they choose me as to refer me business, at least, is because they've seen on how thorough I am, or with my inspectors, how thorough we are and how quickly we release the report, by the way. Our
wow.
turnaround time is not 24 to 48 hours like most of these other, Mickey Mouse inspection companies. We are right away. When I say right away, I mean, once we receive a cash or credit card payment from the client, before we get into our cars and leave the property that we just inspected, the emailed inspection report is already in your as a PDF attachment, is emailed to your inbox.
Oh, I've never heard that one.
So we're right away. The way we do it is because while we're conducting the inspection,
Mhm.
we're writing the report at the same time simultaneously. So we believe that if we're getting paid right away, you should get the report right away without waiting 24 to 48 hours to slow down the transaction process. Because we know as you guys as agents, you guys have, no, there's issues. Nope, we got to call these contractors.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to call these guys. That takes time. You guys have only a 7-day contingency for this inspection, for the inspection process. So it's going to be really, really close. And we don't want that. We want to make a smooth transaction possible because you're there for 2-3 months working with the client.
Yep.
We're only there for a few hours. So the way I believe is that we are exceptional with your clients. But guess what happens in the end? Your clients will thank us, say, thank you very much, Raz. Thank you for this great inspection. But guess who gets the most business? You do as the agent. The client will refer you more business because as a cherry on top, you referred us as inspectors to help them out. So when there is a unified front of a great team, the client will appreciate that.
Right.
Because any successful agent I know that I've worked with, and I've worked with the agents that have been in this industry for over like 30, 35 years. Any question that the client has, they have their own team that moves with them. They have their own loan guy. They have their own title guy, their appraiser, their inspector, their own escrow that they use, their own transaction coordinator that they use. They have so anything that a client has, this whole team just moves with them.
Yep.
So I'm very glad and I'm very grateful that I'm a part of this process, working with the agent and the clients. And I'm the type of inspector where to this day, I mean, even with those, the celebrities that, from before COVID, I mean, they call me like, hey, Raz, we're having a little barbecue. Why don't you come over, bring your wife over and whatnot. I'm not one of those inspectors where I just do an inspection, take your money and run, good luck. I'm very friendly. I'm very close with every one of my clients.
Good.
So,
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for in inspectors when I try to look out for them, because at the end of the day, the most important thing is getting, like you said, health for your clients. So making sure that they're healthy in their new property, making sure that there's nothing wrong with it. And if there is, that they're notified. That way they know before they buy. And
Exactly.
yeah.
Because it's not fair for them. And really, it hurts me when I see issues that they don't want to spend for, or they didn't. I've had where the wife really loved the property,
Hmm.
and I came out with like 22, safety discrepancies. Like those are real problems in the foundation area and the attic enclosure. You know, there's a lot of issues that they couldn't really see. Cosmetically, the house was brand new.
Yeah.
The sellers, they remodeled everything cosmetically, which was beautiful, pitch perfect. But the real issues, it was kind of like a cover. It was a facade.
Yeah.
And I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but I try to explain this to the clients. I'm like, I don't want you guys to, this is what the issues are, and either you take it up with the seller, or it's how you guys choose to do it from there on, whatnot. And they backed out of the transaction because they don't want to pay for something. It was going to cost them I think it was going to cost them like easy 30, 40 grand just to remodel all the stuff, and
Sure.
they didn't have that 30, 40,000.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is not right.
Yeah.
And I told the seller, I've done inspections for sellers before. The sellers that really want a smooth transaction, they really are in
Mhm.
this industry. I've done pre-inspections before to where I do an inspection for the property before they put it on the market
Yeah.
for sale. So that way, whenever the buyer's inspector comes in, first of all, my inspection report is given to the buyer. Like,
Correct.
hey, by the way, Raz from Magnum Opus, he already inspected this property before he put it on the market. If you want your own inspector, go for it. But this is like right away. This is brand new.
Yeah.
Only
In the
been a couple
first three
weeks.
days, we got to give that over to the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the buyers will be like, oh wow, great, thank you very much for this. Or they're like, oh, we want to still have our own inspection. Sure. That own inspection is going to be seeing all the stuff that I saw, or they're probably that own inspection is going to be seeing all the stuff that I saw, or they're probably not going to be used to seeing all the stuff that I saw because they're not a squirrel. It was me. I'm not. I'm not trying to put down my competition, but frankly speaking, to be really direct and blunt, just like they taught me in the Navy. All these other inspectors, they literally all they do is check boxes. That's why their prices are actually significantly lower than mine. Mine is maybe a 20 or 30%. It's higher than what they charge,
Mhm.
only because of the fact that I'm there for 3 to 4 hours for a 2,000 square foot house, whereas them, they're only in there for a maximum 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they're in and out. Oh, did I check the wall? Yeah, wall's great. Okay, did I check the window? Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
And they just say, did you check this? And they just check the box, check the box, check the box. No pictures, no explanation, nothing. Just checking boxes. Well, I can do that too, but that's extortion.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come and rob somebody blind for a few $100s. It's not going to happen. So,
Well, thank you so much for your time, Raj. I really appreciate it. It's
of
been
course,
great having this conversation, and I'm sure everybody online is going to like this.
of
So,
course, no, it was really a pleasure. And anytime you or anybody else have any questions,
sure.
please shoot me a text. Let me know. If I don't respond right away, it's probably because I'm in the middle of another inspection, but I will respond to you regardless. And I'm always here. I always give free advice or free not. It's not an issue for me. I like to help people out. That's just me personally.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raj.